And you can see one of the things that makes this design different is that it's compact. It sits back further. It does not have the extended bed rails that other designs have. Pull it, snaps into place. I'll show you how this build gives you more leg room than some of the others, and I'll give you 2 tips you won't see anywhere else on how to make a sofa bed like this way more comfortable. That's in this video. If you see my other videos, you know I tend to overbuild, and this sofa bed is no exception. So as we go along, I'm going to try to show you ways that you can do it easier, lighter, and cheaper. First, you don't need a 6-inch thick cushion. I cut this down from a mattress I already had, and I was 50 pounds heavier when I made this, so I thought I needed the extra support. I am 6'1". I do fit in here, but just barely. So 5 inches or even 4 inches would be great, and it would be cheaper. And speaking of the cushions, I paid a professional upholsterer to cover them in this blue sunbrella fabric that you usually see outside on patio furniture. Sunbrella fabric is expensive, but it's already UV and water resistant, kind of perfect for the mishaps in van life. I got a lot of inspiration for this bed build from Eric Enjoys Earth and Bruce Parks. I'll put links to their YouTube channels down in the description. You can see here I have the cushions out, and now I have these holes that I drilled using a cordless drill and a hole saw, and that was just for extra ventilation, but also saves a little bit of weight. You can see how it hinges up here in the back. It gives me easy access to get to my power station and my wiring. And then on the very back here, I have a wood slat that I put on the end so that when I drop the bed down, this catches it and doesn't allow it to move forward. The next cool feature is that I can drop this bench to bed mode with just one hand. All I do is pull right there and let it go. It drops straight down to a bed. And that's made possible because of locking drawer slides. And you can see the slides here. I'm going to talk more about these in a minute, but first I want to tell you about the support legs up front. This is a 2x3 wood stud, and it's 7 5/8 inches high. And I've used deck screws, those same ones, to mount it to the top, but then I also brace it with this black steel mount. It's really a shelf for a wall, but it also works great for this purpose. Now I'll take the platform out so we can get a better look at it. It's 5/8 inch thick birch plywood, and it's super sturdy. It weighs 33 pounds, but you could use 1/2 inch plywood and lose the black metal leg supports. That would drop it down to 25 pounds or so. So I've got the bed platform out on this picnic table now, and you can see it's just 4 panels that are all hooked together using these steel hinges. You can see 2 of the piano hinges here, and one of them is hidden beneath these 2 middle panels right here. Anyway, you'll also see some black tape here. That's because I cut these hinges on my miter saw, and they had rough edges, and I didn't want them to rip my cushions, so I put the black tape over it right there. So everything is 29 3/8 inches wide, but the 3 back panels here, they're all 18 inches deep. But then when you get forward and you look at this seat panel, it's 22.5 inches deep. That's 4.5 inches deeper. And that brings us to tip number 1, which is make your seat board wider than your other panels, especially if you're tall or if you have long legs like I do. I've got this set up in sofa mode out here, and when you're deciding how deep to make that seat board, you got to take into account the depth of your rear seat cushion. This one is 6 inches, and that leaves me with about 16 inches of space, and you got to decide if that's comfortable enough for you. One drawback to having this larger seat cushion is that you can't swap it out with the other cushions if it gets dirty or stained. You can flip it, but it has to stay in its front position. Now the other 3 cushions, they're the same size, so you can swap them out, no problem. So I wanted to take the bed frame out so you could get a better look at it, but it's kind of permanently mounted to this rear cabinet and also to this microwave box, and I have wires strapped to it. It's just too hard to take out. But anyway, it's really simple. It's just an H shape. It's these 2x3 wood studs, and these 2 on the outside rails are 48 inches long, and then there's one cross 2x3 right here, and everything is attached using these deck screws. They're 3-inch number 10 deck screws, and then I have little legs also using 2x3 studs, and in the back they're 12 inches deep because of this deep cargo space. Those go down into there. The front has 2 support legs also made from those 2x3 studs. Those are 4 3/4 inches high, and they're all attached with the wood deck screws and these steel right angle strong tie brackets. Front legs are also mounted to the wood floor using an L-shaped corner brace and some wood screws. That's it for the basic frame. I've taken the power station out so you can see how the bed frame is attached to the van. I added this 2x6 wood brace, and it is attached to the cross support on the bed frame. And then I bolted it to a 2x8 wood brace that's mounted to the car frame. It uses the bolts that used to hold the 3rd row seats in place. Here's a picture of that wood brace when I first installed it so you can see how it mounts. The bed rail fits down into the notch that I cut out. I haven't drilled any holes or made any permanent changes to the inside of this van. I added a thin wood panel back here in the back so I'd have a place to tape up and wire my cables out of the way. I like to keep it really tidy. And then over here I have something specific to my build. That's this 2x3 wood stud. It's also 48 inches long. It's only here to be able to have a place to mount my rear storage over here on the side. So the key to this whole bed build is the drawer slides. And at least one of these must be a locking slide rail to keep the bed from dropping down on its own. On a side note, these slides weigh 15 pounds by themselves, and the entire frame, including the slides, weighs 35 pounds. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm back on the sofa again. You might notice something a little different. The cushion behind me is thicker and I am less comfortable. And that brings me to tip number 2, which is make a thinner cushion for your seat back just for sitting up. So I usually just take this thick cushion. This is the one at 6 inches. I leave it back with the other cushions. And then I made this 4-inch one just for sitting up. And now I go all the way back and I'm much more comfortable. Now let's take a closer look at the dimensions, the materials, and the cost. In the description, I'll link to a printable PDF file with all this info, including a simple wood cut list. The entire base frame is constructed using 2x3 wood studs. They're cheaper and lighter than 2x4s and plenty strong for something this small. And I use 3-inch long number 10 deck screws to attach everything. The outer frame rails are 48 inches long and aligned perpendicular to the main cross member, which is 23 7/8 inches wide. My 2 rear support legs are 12 inches high and the front legs are 4 3/4 inches high. The height of your supports will be different, so measure twice and cut once, as they say. I added steel right-angle strong tie brackets to strengthen the attachment of each leg to the outer rail. You'll need 8 or 9 Phillips truss head screws per bracket. You can only see half of them here. The others are under and on the back side. The front legs are mounted to the wood floor using 3-inch L-shaped corner braces and wood screws. For the sliding drawer frame, the outer rails are 28 inches long. The 2 cross members are 19 3/8 inches wide, and the center support brace is 24 7/8 inches long. Connect them together with 3-inch deck screws. You'll need a pair of 28-inch long heavy-duty drawer slides with at least 1 locking rail. And this is important. Mount the slide rails on the bed frame first and align them a tiny bit higher than the outer rail. You want the sliding box frame to sit above the outer bed rails to ensure a smooth slide. If they're too low, the platform will rub against the side rails and it'll be really hard to move it back and forth. Now for the platform. Get 1 4x8 sheet of 1/2-inch thick birch plywood and rip it lengthwise or parallel to the grain to 29 3/8 inches wide. Next, cut 3 panels to 18 inches and 1 seat panel to 22 1/2 inches. This part is optional, but now's the time to use the cordless drill and the hole saw to cut those 3-inch holes to save weight and improve ventilation under the bed. Connect the platform panels together with the 3 stainless steel hinges. Then mount the seat platform to the sliding drawer box with 4 wood screws. Okay, here's what it costs to build. $10 for 3 2x3 studs, $65 for 1/2-inch thick birch plywood, $75 for 3 stainless steel hinges, $25 for 2 shelf supports, $15 for 4 right-angle strong tie brackets, $10 for 2 steel L-shaped corner braces, $10 for 3-inch deck screws, $10 for Phillips truss head screws, $10 for regular wood screws, and those 500-pound heavy-duty locking drawer slides are a whopping $110. You can probably get these cheaper than I did. That comes to a grand total of $340. That's a lot. And keep in mind, this does not include the foam or material for the cushions. This is just the wood and hardware for the base and platform. And before I go, I want to share an expensive lesson that I learned. And originally, this bed was 38 inches wide, and I based that on a mattress I had, that one that I used to make these cushions. It was 38 inches wide, and I paid the upholsterer to cover it, a lot of money. And then I changed my mind and said, hey, I want this to be more narrow. I don't need that much space. And then I'll put a fridge and a freezer over here. Well, I had to pay the upholsterer again, almost the same amount. So it was a really expensive lesson. And the takeaway here is kind of know what you want before you pay somebody else to either do your cushions or spend any money on an upholsterer or learn how to sew. That's a very, very good skill that I need to learn, and I'm going to work on that. And finally, let's talk about the weight again. As is, the bed frame and platform weigh a combined 68 pounds. Yikes. That's 35 pounds for the frame and 33 pounds for the platform. Oh, and these thick cushions add another 10 pounds. So what do you think of this folding sofa bed build? Please let me know in the comments. That's all for this video, and as always, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.